السلام عليكم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي أشدد به أزري واشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Welcome everyone. Do you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for confirming. So we are going to continue with the 21st word, first station, which is on the prayers or for prayer, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, for prayers are enjoined on believers at stated times. This is the verse from the Quran, section 4, verse 103. So last time we pointed out that the prayers are tied to our belief. The prayers are enjoined on believers. So how much we are tied in terms of believing in the absoluteness of our Lord, that we are created beings, or what our duty is in this world, why are we here in this world, going through various different experiences, given a particular lifespan, which is a pretty short time compared to what we are seeking. Our feelings are looking for eternal satisfaction, eternal continuous experiencing the qualities that we are enjoying. So something that we need to take into account, how important this life of this world is for us to build our hereafter. So we will continue from the fourth warning. O my foolish soul. So we've been going through different stages of the soul. One was stomach worshipping, there was wretched souls, stomach worshipping, and then the impatient soul. So now one side of the human being is a foolish soul, is this duty of worship without result, and is its recompense little, that it causes you weariness. So the duty of worship without result. Why would we do anything if there is no result? So when we work, of course, we are getting something for that work. Otherwise, what's the purpose of living in this world if there is no meaning behind anything? So each and every moment of our existence counts in terms of a consequence. It has a consequence in this world. So the duty of worship also must have a result. It's not just for no reason that I am connecting with my Lord because I recognize him. So there is a purpose in there. And is its recompense little, that it causes you weariness. So weariness, that, oh, I have to pray again, tiredness. Oh, it's already time again. Whereas if someone was to give you a little money or to intimidate you, he could make you work till evening, and you would work without slacking. So is it that the prescribed prayers are without result, which in this guest house of the world are sustenance and wealth for your impotent and weak heart? Sustenance and wealth for your impotent and weak heart, and in your grave, which will be a certain dwelling place for you. Sustenance and light. And at the resurrection, when you will anyway be judged, a document and patent. And on the bridge of Sirat, over which you are bound to pass, a light and a mount. Are their recompense little? Because compared to this world, the next world is immense and eternal. So the prescribed prayers are without result, which in this guest house of the world are sustenance and wealth for your spirit, let's put it that way, but impotent and weak heart, and in your grave, which will be a certain dwelling place for you, sustenance and light, and at the resurrection, when you will anyway be judged, the prescribed prayers will come as a document and patent, as something that as a result will be meaningful at the day of accountability. And on the bridge of Sirat, which is a transition period over which you are bound to pass, it becomes a light and a mount. Instead of darkness, of transition from one place to the other, it becomes luminous and an easy transport as a means to take one from this world to the next. Are their recompense little? Someone promises you a present worth $100 and makes you work for 100 days. Or maybe $1,000 and makes you work for 100 days. You trust a man who may go back on his word and work without slacking. So if one for whom the breaking of a promise is impossible, one for whom the breaking of a promise is impossible promises you recompense like paradise and a gift like eternal happiness, and employs you for a very short time in a very agreeable duty. If you do not perform that service, or you act accusingly toward his promise, or slight his gift by performing it unwillingly, like someone forced to work, or being bored, or by working in half-hearted fashion, you will deserve a severe reprimand and awesome punishment. Have you not thought of this? Although you serve without flagging in the heaviest work in the world, out of fear of imprisonment, does the fear of an eternal incarceration like hell not fill you with enthusiasm for a truly light and agreeable act of service? So a truly light and agreeable act of service. So just like the work we do for wherever we are working, if we are working anywhere, so we put our time, effort, dedication, and willfully do it, because if the work is not on par with what is the expectations from the employer are, then of course we lose our jobs or positions because we are underperforming. So that's an analogy to how the prayers also have to be conscious prayers. I think Brother Ali had mentioned that last time as well. So it doesn't have to be half-hearted, like a half-hearted fashion. It's not like something I have to do it because it's my obligation from my religion. So if one says that, or it's kind of boring, as maybe some young folks may say it, not realizing what this life is meant to be, what's the purpose of living here. I mean, we take our other things in life so seriously. We are very careful not to be punished or be in certain situations that would make it difficult. But what about our eternal life? We need to pay attention to that. So I think this is what the fourth warning is bringing into the seriousness of my purpose in this world and how important it is to be conscious and aware in my worship. All right, anybody else would like to comment anything? Feel free to jump in at any moment. I would be glad to hear your thoughts. And let's go to the fifth warning. Oh, my world worshipping souls. Now, the world worshipping soul. Does your slackness in worship, and remissness, which is like carelessness in the prescribed prayers, arise from the multiplicity of your worldly occupations? This is a very common theme or excuse I hear from many about the multiplicity of my worldly occupations, especially the regular working folks not really engaged with the Quran or with their purpose, or because you cannot find time due to the struggle for livelihood. Find time due to the struggle for livelihood. Were you created only for this world that you spend all your time on it? It's a very good question. Am I created only for this world that I spend all my time on something that is small, petty, just for temporary pleasure or entertainment mostly? You know that in regard to your abilities, you are superior to all the animals, but in regard to procuring the necessities of worldly life, you cannot compete with even a sparrow. So why can you not understand that your basic duty is not to labor like an animal, but to strive for a true perpetual life? Your duty is not to labor like an animal, but to strive for a true perpetual life. like a true human being. Strive for a true perpetual life like a true human being. Otherwise, if one only thinks of them as a material, bodily being, then it will only be for this life. Whereas as a human being, I'm given awareness, consciousness, feelings, spirit. So not just the body. I realize that I'm not only a body, then definitely I know that I have a bigger purpose in life than just this world, something that I'm looking for, a eternal life, everlasting life, something that will fulfill my spirit, pleasure, not temporary pleasure, but continuous permanent pleasure. So in addition, the things you call worldly occupations mostly do not concern you. Haha, interesting. The things you call worldly occupations mostly do not concern you and are trivial matters which you meddle in officiously. But we take everything so seriously in our work, whatever we are doing. And here the author is saying all these worldly occupations that you are involved with are trivial matters and which are made into officiously. I understand some corporate world makes it very official, makes it very serious. Although to me it does not make so much sense to make it that serious. You neglect the essential things and pass your time acquiring inessential information as though you were going to live for 1,000 years. That's how most of us live, as if we are going to continue our existence for a long time here. For example, you squander your precious time on worthless things, like learning what the rings around Saturn are like, or how many chickens there are in America. I mean, these are very simple examples, but there are, in this day and age, amazingly, so many worthless things are available. So much information which is available, you can just Google it, but many people like me, we spend time in finding those things out. Precious time. I have to see, what is it worth it, or how am I using it? What is it bringing in for me? As though you were becoming an expert in astronomy or statistics. So our purpose is not to be the expert in one particular field of whatever we are working in. As though you were becoming an expert in astronomy or statistics. If you say, what keeps me from the prayers and worship and causes me to be lax is not unnecessary things like that, but essential matters like earning a livelihood. If you say what keeps me from the prayers and worship and causes me to be lax is not unnecessary things like that, but essential matters like earning a livelihood, then my answer is this. If you work for a daily wage of $100 and someone comes to you and says, come and dig here for 10 minutes and you will find a brilliant and an emerald worth $1,000. If you reply, no, I won't come because $10 will be cut from my wage and my subsistence will be less. Of course, you understand what a foolish pretext it would be. In just the same way, you work in this orchard for your livelihood. So I guess he's talking to some gardener, farmer. You work in this orchard for your livelihood. If you abandon the obligatory prayers, all the fruits of your effort will be restricted to only a worldly, unimportant, and unproductive livelihood. So we can take it to our profession. So whatever we are, however we are earning a livelihood, essential matters like earning a livelihood is not for the purpose of that livelihood, but that could become a means for me to connect with my whoever is presenting all those opportunities in the way that I'm working. So it could be used in that way. So, for example, the orchard can be used for this guy, the same for the gardener, farmer. If you abandon the obligatory prayers, all the fruits of your effort will be restricted to only a worldly, unimportant, and unproductive livelihood. So, whatever, if the gardener works only for the livelihood to get the fruits and the efforts and ignores the obligatory prayers, then it will only be an unproductive temporary livelihood for this world only. But if you spend your rest periods on the prayers, which allow your spirit to relax and heart to take a breather, you will discover two minds, which are an important source, both for a productive worldly livelihood and your livelihood and provisions of the hereafter. So, two minds in earning the livelihood. One is first mind, through a sound intention. You will receive a share of the praises and glorifications offered by all the plants and trees, whether flowering or fruit bearing, that you grow in the garden. So, yeah, so this footnote says this example was used for someone who works in a garden. So the author is talking to this individual that through a sound intention, you will receive a share of the praises and glorifications offered by all the plants and trees, whether flowering or fruit bearing, that you grow in the garden. So we can extend this to our whatever we are working on and see how we are earning our livelihood and how the things we are involved with can become the means that they are glorifying and offering, praising whoever gives them existence. And we can benefit in that way. Although it's easier for the gardener and his plants and trees, but I guess for other professions, working with people, seeing that how each individual is being made purposely in that way, and using our human qualities, reasoning, intelligence, feelings, whatever we're engaged in, emotions, working with, even the computers, phones, whatever we are interacting with, can be seen that they are praising and glorifying whoever made them in the way they are behaving, the order that they are following. So that's the first mind, or first fruit, maybe. Second one is whatever is eaten of the garden's produce, whether by animals or man, cattle or flies, buyers or thieves, it will become like almsgiving from you. From a hadith that whatever, for example, in the garden that goes to other beings, cattle, flies, whatever, the butterflies come and bees may come, or You may have cattle that is eating the grass or other plants, then it will become like almsgiving from you. Maybe like a sadaqah or something. But on condition you work in the name of the true provider. So this condition that you work in the name of the true provider and within the bounds of what he permits, and see yourself as a distribution official. So not being proud or arrogant that I am feeding all these cattle or buying whatever the way I'm taking care of the chicken or the feed for them, or even producing harvest or for other people as if I'm feeding them as a farmer. So I have to be within the limits of what my createdness as a being dependent on my true provider or my Lord. See myself as a distribution official giving his property, so not my property, but it's his property to his creatures. They don't belong to me, even though I may have chicken or cows or goats, but they don't belong to me. Existentially, they belong to my owner. I probably paid an amount to keep them for some time. Same thing with each and everything that I own has been given to me. Interesting. So see what a great loss is made by one who abandons the prescribed prayers. What significant wealth he loses, and he is deprived of those two results and minds which would otherwise cause him to work eagerly and ensure his morale is strong. He becomes bankrupt. Even as he grows old, he will grow weary of gardening and lose interest in it, saying, "What is it to me? I am anyway leaving this world. Why should I put up with this much difficulty?" This attitude is a very dangerous attitude, I would say, in terms of what is the life of this world, because it's passing so quickly. So why should I even bother doing anything? So, I mean, how horrible this situation can be, because that puts one into idleness. That's why belief is so important in one's life, because this is a sign of despair. What is it to me? I'm leaving this world. Why should I put up with this much difficulty? He will sink into idleness. But the person who is aware, I shall work harder at both worship and licit activities in order to send even more abundant light to my grave and procure more provisions for my life in the hereafter. All right, so I will pause here to hear any comments if anybody would like to speak on this particular attitude that one may hear or may not, or even one may take, and why it is so horrible and detrimental to a human being.
I think it's like, first of all, thank you so much, mashallah, for keeping up with this. Alhamdulillah. So I think it's just like being at school. Education never ends. You're done with one exam, then there's another quiz coming up, there's another assignment coming up. Assignments don't end. And as a student, it may seem, oh my goodness, let me just get out of here 4 more years, and then you start another school, right? And then you go through the same cycle again. So perhaps maybe just the way the order is set up, you're like, okay, the same thing again, same routine. Like, you know how routines also become stale. So familiarity with things pretty much kills our human qualities. And inshallah, it's just the awareness that we need to constantly connect our existence here to an eternal source of existence, because like you were, mashallah, sharing how yeah, this worldly lives actually help us connect with what matters at the end of the day. Otherwise, if I'm just here for the world, then I can die as a happy person, but then my humanity is lost, or pretty much I have imprisoned my humanity if I just keep on just being concerned with the worldly stuff. At the same time, if yes, definitely, you know, this world, the universe pretty much connects us to whatever this universe points to, an eternal life. So that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, thank you, Faria. Would anybody else want to share anything? So somebody can say that, yeah, this world is transient anyway, so why should I go to school or go to a job? Because I don't know, at any moment I can die.
I would say,
Yeah,
yeah,
how would one tackle that?
that I know that's a good one, and it's a hard one too. I'm glad you brought this up. I'll say, hey, buddy, you're given existence right now, so make something out of it. You gotta do what you gotta do. Right? You wake up in the morning and you get your breakfast and everything, but like, go ahead and work out a livelihood, and then keep going. It's a tough one, yeah. I don't know. Let's see what others have to say.
Ejpesa, go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum. Not to necessarily say this is the answer, but rather a thought that occurred to me as I was listening is I don't think to say, you know, what is it to me? I'm leaving this world anyway, is in and of itself terrible unless I presuppose a sort of conclusion for my life. So I already, I guess, in saying such a claim, I'm already upholding the belief that that's it, like I die with death and I am my body and I will deteriorate, and that's that. If that were the case, then it doesn't make sense to do anything anyway. But rather, I guess if I find myself in a state of being where I say, what is it to me? Oh, you know, why do I put up with such difficulty? Then I have to question. And I guess for one thing, you know, it brings up the feeling of I don't like things that pass. That's one thing. You know, I did like I want my life to actually have meaning, and because in this question I'm kind of approaching it in a my life has an expiration date, and that my death date is also like when everything I go into non-existence, because it has that sort of an approach. Um, um, it causes me pain. Whereas if I say, okay, why is it that I'm even taking up this sort of a attitude to begin with, and is this true, and how can I remedy the situation? Then that could be an opportunity for me to turn my face towards the correct direction. Hopefully.
Yeah, thank you. So even from some of the believers I speak to, I hear this, you know, kind of desperation. They say they believe in God. I mean, they don't consider themselves body only. They see that, yes, they have feelings, but then they still are not motivated enough. That's why I think the sound intention, or maybe how to put it, the will to continue existence, maybe, or the, but I think that's probably, I don't know what's this translation is out, but I think this is how maybe related to the basically being understanding of our reality, seeing what our purpose is, and of course seeing all the different experiences that we may be facing as opportunities actually to grow and build. So that sound intention, being aware of what my purpose in life is I think something that should help. Seeing that my feelings, of course, need to develop the more I engage with the universe and continue striving. Keep moving forward. To use from the Meet the Robinsons. That's one of the mantras he used. Keep moving forward. All right, anybody else wants to comment? Anything?
Thank you for sharing that. Keep moving forward. I like that one. I was like, wait, is that a song I've heard? But yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, otherwise we sink into idleness, which is very laziness and dangerous for human beings. Because that leads to not doing anything really in life, and then can't progress if you're not engaging, working, doing something. How can we connect with our Lord if you're not engaging with the universe, with different people or with different things in life? So laziness is not an option. All right, we can move on then. So in short, oh my soul. Now addressing each one, everyone can address their soul. Know that yesterday has left you. Correct, yesterday has left me, and as for tomorrow, you have nothing to prove that it will be yours, that I will be given a tomorrow. There's no guarantee, nothing. I can't give it that guarantee myself. So in which case, know that your true life is the present day. Know that your true life is the present day, the moments that you are in. So throw at least one of its hours into a mosque of prayer mat. Interesting how he calls it a mosque of a prayer mat. Prayer mat as well as a mosque. A coffer for the hereafter, like a reserve fund. Retirement plan. Reserve fund. Set up for the true future. The true future. Know too that for you and for everyone, each new day is the door to a new world. Know too that for you and for everyone, each new day is the door to a new world. I like this. Each new day is the door to a new world. If you do not perform the prayers, your world that day will depart dark and wretched. Your world that day will depart dark and wretched, and will testify against you in the world of similitudes. Will testify against you. That's interesting. The testify against you. If anybody recalls from last Sunday's discussion about how in the prayers each and every one can help each other. as the intercessor. So I think that whatever our consciousness is in terms of how our worship is universal, we are including when we say Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, that we worship, we seek help. So to you we are worshiping, we seek help. So the we na'budu, that includes each and every being as much as we can possibly see. Like if it's in a congregation, each and every one is an intercessor for the other person. And then how much we are aware of all the universe, the planets, trees, skies, each and everything can become my intercessor. Otherwise, they will testify that this person never accounted for me, didn't even acknowledge me. See, the pigeons are here and they're like, hey, this guy didn't even acknowledge that I am a created being sent by my Lord, my creator. For everyone, every day has a private world out of this world. Wow, so everyone every day has a private world out of this world. That's what the prayer should be. A private world out of this world, and its nature is dependent on the person's heart and actions. So basically, I would say belief. Person's heart and actions is how his belief, his awareness, consciousness, feelings are, how much are they connected with their reality, what they are for, what they're given, what is man doing in this world. Whatever his experience was at that time of the day where he's now connecting with his Lord, responding back in his private world. Like a splendid palace reflected in a mirror. A splendid palace reflected in a mirror takes on the color of the mirror. If the palace is black, it appears black. If it is red, it appears red. Also, it takes on the qualities of the mirror. If the mirror is smooth, it shows the palace to be beautiful. And if it is not, it shows it to be ugly. So the mirror is not smooth. If it's distorted, it will show the mirror, whatever the reflection is coming into the mirror, to be ugly. I mean, so it depends on the mirror. Yeah, so whatever object is being, so the palace is reflected in a mirror, takes on the color of the mirror, whatever is the color of the mirror. The mirror is black, the thing would appear black, or if it's red, it appears red, and also takes on the qualities of the mirror. Either smooth or is it rough. So as it shows the most delicate things to be coarse, so you alter the shape of your own world with your heart, mind, actions, and wishes. This is a very powerful phrase. So I, as a human being, can shape my own world in terms of how I'm feeling, how my mind is, what my feelings are saying, what my actions and wishes will do. So what my condition of belief is, how much am I aware of my reality, that much will my world will be shaped accordingly. So you may make it testify. So I may make it testify either to me or against myself. So depending on what my state of being is, I can either have it work for myself or against myself. So I can distort my mirror based on how I use my free will. So the thing is the same, the way it's presented is created, whatever thing I'm experiencing. But depending on how I take it, what my mirror is like, I can alter the shape of that for me. You may make it testify either for you or against you. If you perform the 5 daily prayers, and through them you are turned towards that world's glorious maker. So in the daily prayers, I am turned towards the world's glorious maker, maker of the heavens and the earth, or the universe. Rabbus samawati wal ard. All of a sudden your world, which looks to you, is lit up. Quite simply as though the prayers are an electric lamp, and your intention to perform them touches the switch. They disperse the world's darkness and shows the changes and movements within the confused wretchedness of worldly chaos to be a wise and purposeful order and a meaningful writing of divine power. They scatter one light of the light-filled verse, God is the light of the heavens and the earth, which is from Quran section 24, verse 35. So they scatter one light of the light-filled verse, God is the light of the heavens and the earth, over your heart, and your world on that day is illuminated through the light's reflection. It will cause it to testify in your favor through its luminosity. So the light will cause it to testify in your favor through its luminosity. Prayers are, so this is an analogy, as the prayers are an electric lamp and your intention to perform them touches the switch, they disperse the world's darkness. So it's like in my private world, I can take a rest and break from all the different things I maybe have been engaged with and just directly be facing my Lord and communicating with him. So it disperses the whole world's darkness and shows the changes and movements within the confused wretchedness of the worldly chaos, the continuously changing world that I'm living in, I myself am changing continuously. It brings meaning and light to that universe that is ever changing, that is changing under a purposeful order and meaningful writing of divine power. So all that chaos and wretchedness, disturbance that I may have been perceiving in this universe, they become purposeful, wise and purposeful order and meaningful writing of divine power. So the prayers allow me to make that connection, that contact, to reorient myself from that chaotic day that I may be having, where I may not be seeing the wise and purposeful creation being presented by divine power. So that's how the God is the light of the heavens and the earth comes in to my feelings over your heart, your world, and is illuminated. Inshallah, may our prayers be like this. I mean, it's very beautiful when I'm reading it, but I hope we can benefit from this, because this is a conclusion of the short on how he's reflecting on that particular verse where the prayers are enjoined on the believers at certain times. I think it's this verse. And when you have completed the prayer, remember Allah standing, sitting, or lying on your sides. But when you become secure, re-establish regular prayer. Indeed, so this phrase, prayer has been decreed upon the believers, a decree of specified times. And I think because of the Brother Ali mentioned about the believer, how the prayer is tied to how my belief, how engaged I am in my fulfilling the purpose of my life. All right. So beware, do not say, what are my prayers in comparison with the reality of the prayers? Yeah, I was just saying that. What? Don't say that. What are my prayers in comparison with the reality of the prayers? Why? Because like the seed of a date palm describes the full-grown tree. The seed of a date palm describes the full-grown tree. Your prayers describe your tree. So my prayers describe my tree. The difference is only in the summary and details. Difference is only in the summary and details. Like the prayers of a great saint, the prayers of ordinary people like you or me, even if they are not aware of it. So even if they are not aware of it, have a share of that light. There is a mystery in this truth, even if the conscious mind does not perceive it. But the unfolding and illumination differs according to the degrees of those performing them. The unfolding and illumination differs according to the degrees of those performing them. So I think this author was probably speaking to one of the garden takers who was taking care of the garden. So that's why he's explaining a little bit in this way, that like the seed of a date palm describes the full-grown tree, your prayers describe your tree. And the difference is only in the summary and details, like the prayers of a great saint, the prayers of ordinary people like you or me, even if they're not aware of it, have a share of that light. I mean, there must be a purpose that one is praying and engaging. So the more conscious we are, the better for us. Right? However, many stages, so many stages and degrees there are from the seed of a date palm to the mature tree. The degrees of the prayers and their stages are even more numerous. So this develops as a human being's belief develops, as he matures, he grows. The seed can grow into a tree, so the degrees of the prayers and their stages are even more numerous. So there's no end to it. So he'll go ahead.
Assalamualaikum. Yeah, it's interesting because I think about this sometimes too. In that, like, what's the purpose of me praying if I don't comprehend it? If it seems like I'm just going through the motions most of the time, and as he points out, my duty at minimum is simply to plant the seed. Like I don't know what it's going to become, but when I plant it, it's going to become something, even if I'm not completely aware of it. And it's just simply, like the example of, let's say somebody gifts me something and I express some sort of thankfulness or gratitude or appreciation. I don't know what the person's going to do with that, who I expressed my thankfulness towards, and maybe I don't even comprehend the complete wisdom and why they may have given me the gift or the reason or the thought behind it, but my gratitude or appreciation isn't taken for nothing or granted, and it may mean something down the road. So at the most basic level, it's to simply plant the seed. It is to perform that minimal duty, and I do reap something from it, whether I'm aware of it or not, because the reality of it, the complete reality of prayer, isn't known really to anyone, truthfully. It's only known to the one towards whom that prayer is directed. So I can't say that I can even fully comprehend the meaning of prayer or the meaning of gratitude or appreciation. I have some aspect of it, some appreciation, some light from it, as he says, and my duty is, as a human being, is simply to express it. And in a sense, when I say duty, it's like it's inherent, it's inborn. It's not like no human being needs to be told, really, if they're honest with themselves and sane and comprehending and reasonable, to express gratitude or appreciation. Even the idea of being idle, when you think about it, like if I were to say, oh, I'm not going to pray, what else would I do then? Then it's like, as you said earlier, life becomes sort of meaningless at that point. Like, what am I doing then? It's the human need to sort of think about what's going on in this world, and then therefore to express gratitude and acknowledgement and gratitude, appreciation, thankfulness, and need and want, and prayer being the sort of prescribed way of doing so. So, if we look at it from that lens, then every prayer or every raka, every sujud is sort of every sort of takbir or verse or chapter recited in prayer, or every praise is sort of an opportunity to reflect and to understand. So every one of those aspects of, even within an individual prayer, is a seed. So it's innumerable opportunities, and every moment one is given, or every prayer one is given another moment, innumerable amount of opportunities to do so, to express those feelings.
Thank you for sharing that. Indeed, yeah. So we gotta do what we have to do, continuously praising that we see. We don't know what the end result would be, though. That's why.
I just wanted to add one more thing. Why think about, like, why is the prayer so important? Like it is. Truthfully, after, if you were to recite the 5 pillars and to the proclamation, the shahada, after that being prayers, like why is it so important? Like, I think about it, it's because that's like who I am as a human being. It defines my reality, my everyday life. Yeah, I mean, Ramadan's once a year and Hajj once a life, and Zakat once a year, if you can even able to do that, even including Hajj. But prayer, that's available literally to everyone every day. and it's one's human reality. It's like I said, and he said earlier, like it's interesting when he says prayer versus idleness, because I think you were talking about earlier, like I go to my job, I think about it, like every week. We were having this discussion yesterday, but it's like time flies, you can't stop it, and every week you're going to work and there's another week off your life. And you don't, like, I don't even think about it. It just is. That's how it is. That's how the world is. And I just go to work every day and I come back and I do the same thing every day: eat, sleep, work, and come back. And in some sense, like, if you compare that with prayer, it's like almost polar opposites in some sense, because man is preoccupying his time with something. It's like, even in idleness, one's preoccupying themselves by doing something, by just laying down, laying on the couch, sleeping, chatting, daydreaming, any of those things, really. And like, I have to ask myself, like, this time is fleeting. Like, what's going on here? Like, what am I doing here? It doesn't make any sense that my life is just transient here. And what does that even mean? What's the purpose in that my life is fleeting? I'm here today and gone the next. And so I guess people then take this prayer, then their worship, object of worship, then, because it's inevitable for man. Like, he can't be without purpose, as Norcy alludes to. Like, he'll work. I mean, there's some sort of, in some sense, some purpose, immediate sort of, what do you call it? Recompense, immediate sort of reward. I don't like the word reward, but like in the traditional sense, but immediate sort of reward, and that becomes his purpose, his object of worship. And like, I mean, like, I do that too. So it's inevitable. And when I think about prayer, then it becomes difficult, because I don't realize that, like, what does it mean that I'm working anyway, on a very transient temporal basis? It doesn't really mean anything, honestly, at the end of the day. People have worked before me for hundreds and thousands of years. Where's their work now? And maybe I benefit from it, but where are they? They're dead. They're gone. So what does it even mean at the end of it all? And it's impossible. That's why I think prayer is so important, because it shapes who I am as a human being. It is sort of an expression of my purpose in life, or my meaning in life. It could be work for some people, but that doesn't seem very human, honestly, at the end. Prayer really sort of corresponds to my eternal need. Work corresponds to my temporal, bodily need. And so that to me is why I guess the 5 daily prayers are so important.
Yeah, good points that you brought up to think about. Alhamdulillah. About our life here in this world every day, what we go through. Yes, so we need to see how the 5 daily prayers are bringing into my life as we continue our days, whatever we are doing, working or cooking, doing things, cleaning, whatever we are engaged with. But then this is everybody else has been doing that also. And there are those people now, as Suhail was saying. So what is really the meaning and purpose of our lives here? So if it was not for these moments of reflection and connection with my Lord in the form of the daily prayers, inshallah. So the essence of that luminous truth is present in all degrees. So however we are doing it, however our prayers are, to what degree, what level our belief is, there's always the essence of the luminous truth is there, which is I know my reality. O God, grant blessings and peace to the one who said the 5 daily prayers are the pillar of religion. Suhail also alluded to this, one of the pillars of religion, 5 daily prayers, which is every day. So, and to all his family and companions. Oriha, why are prayers important? What were the points? Who can answer that? So, Suhail, you want to answer that?
The question was to repeat the points.
I mean, why are the prayers important? How would you answer that?
You know, I mean, I guess what we've been talking about and what you've been reading, really, yeah, you know, the you know, I mean, essentially what he says in that, simply put, what really is my purpose in life. The prayers in and of themselves, like if you take it in a vacuum or isolation, in and of themselves, like they're not you know, made important because I have a purpose. They're important because they are the purpose, really. You know, it's not like, oh, I need you know, they are the purpose in life. They're the sort of the realization that's my purpose in life. Like I don't like to say they give man purpose, because man is always in looking for a purpose. He sort of knows what his purpose is and realizes this is the prayer is that, because what else would I be doing then? What else am I striving for?
But they are what makes me as a human being.
Correct. Yeah, that's they make me who I am. Yeah, that's why they're divinely ordained, because why else would he be ordaining or prescribing them for me if he didn't know who I was, what my purpose in life is? Because he's the one that gave me this sense and need to have purpose, to want purpose, and to try to find it. And it's that. And so if I abandon them, like it's not really he's in loss, it's me, because I'm sort of ignoring what my purpose in life is. And as Marcy says, like man's looking for, I don't know if you can go scroll back, but man's looking for an objective in life. Like I'll work. I mean, everybody, you know, if you know, if there's some sort of recompense, man will work. He will that he will realize. And even then, honestly, you know, you see people who even work, even honestly, for rather than retire. I see it all the time in my field. They'll work part time because, as they say, like I can't. If I didn't work, I would drop dead. I would die, because that's literally people's purpose. That's their objective in life. You know, was to work. Now, I'm not saying on individual cases why they, you know, is it useful or not, but I'm just saying it is difficult for man to remain idle per se, as in the truest sense of the word. But it's apparently easy to remain idle as it pertains to prayer, when as Nidhi points out, because, you know, I take as my purpose in life this sort of temporal bodily relationship I have with myself. And so that becomes my objective. And whereas prayer sort of, it disperses this darkness in the last point he made about this darkness I have in my life. It sort of opens up the eternal world for me. This connection with the creator that I seek. Otherwise, like if I just go to work every day, which, you know, I do and most people do day in and day out, you know, why is that? Because that becomes their objective. So what is the point? When somebody asks you what's the meaning in that, there's no answer to that. Just I have to work. What else would I do? That's why people suffer from something called burnout, because you work so much and you're like, where am I going with this? So but you know, you know, that's really the point of prayer, in one sense. One, to acknowledge that this is my purpose in life. And then 2, to just sort of disperse this darkness in my life, that this eternal need that I have cannot be answered by my bodily needs in and of themselves, not from working or income or trying to get a job or earn a living, or I mean, those satisfy temporary bodily needs, but they don't satisfy eternal needs. So that's what I'm really interested in. And then because they are, as he says, the seeds for the hereafter, my eternal life, they have a meaning there that even if I don't fully grasp, I still can grasp some meaning, some aspect of it. Even if I don't completely grasp the entirety of it. So because there is still some truth there, even in my prayer, even the most basic truth, that why am I doing it? It's some sort of connection with my creator. Even if that's my very simple understanding, that's a truth. That's an aspect of the truth. What's the truth if I say my life is work? There really isn't much there, honestly. There's no truth there. So even a minuscule drop of the truth is far greater than darkness. It's a one photon of light scatters the entirety of darkness. So, but that's what I would say. So I guess it requires man to sort of step back and reflect and ask themselves, what are they doing with their life? And then you can come to this answer or conclusion.
Yep, thank you for summarizing. So my work is only till a particular time period. Will I have life here, maybe? Who knows what that life is? But that cannot be only my purpose in life. That's why it's important for have these prayers, as Suhail described it. Alhamdulillah. Thank you, everyone. So we'll conclude here, inshallah, and then we'll pick up from the next section next week, inshallah. All right, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma alamtana innaka anta alimul hakim wa akhiru da'wahum walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati suratul Fatiha.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you all. Assalamu alaikum.
And Jazakallah khairan.